Everyone, my name is Logan Hart, and as I've been talking about, I want to try to be more active on here and sharing value and talking about things that are extremely important, especially with everything that's going on these days. So I thought a great sort of template or system that I could work with just to kind of get into some things and get some momentum with this would be to go through at least portions of a book that I recently have read called The End of All Evil. And it's really a great book. It's very straightforward, simple and easy to understand, but truly some of the most, if not the most important information that any human being can come to understand. And that is the nature of their infinite worth and their freedom. Because if you don't have freedom, you live in slavery, and our potential, our spirit will be greatly hindered, which is tragic and, well, evil. So this book is just about that. It's about what is evil, how to end it, and of course, spoiler alert, it's not necessarily about a violent revolution, though that sometimes that is required to defend freedom. What it really is an internal, it's a knowing, an understanding of your worth, the nature of reality, the value of freedom, and once you understand that, a shift will automatically happen because you will then step into your sovereignty. So I'll keep this one short. I think, this is really kind of just like a trial run. So let's see if we have any comments first. How's everybody doing today? Let me know if you can hear me all right. Display. Okay, no comments yet. That's fine. So I'll just get right into it. And I'm just going to be kind of reading some sections of this and then adding on some of my own thoughts. All right, so chapter 1, freedom. The definition of freedom is the infinite value of the human being. The definition of evil is the destruction of freedom. Everything that is evil teaches people that they have limited value. Truth is always simple. All people recognize truth because all people are intelligent beings. It is the nature of evil to create artificially complex ideas. It does this to hide or obfuscate the freedom it destroys. If you remove the complexities and fears from your life, you will find a plain and beautiful truth. This truth is the nature of your worth. To understand freedom is to understand the value of a person. Everything evil wants is to disguise and destroy your value. All authority is created by evil men to disguise your worth. To understand your own worth is to understand the nature of liberty. And so right off the bat, what this is striking me to add here is that it's important to apply this understanding, this perspective, to not only the macro. And when you think about, obviously government is going to be kind of the central focus of this book because government is the single, by far, greatest threat and imposition on your freedom, your beliefs about your self-worth, and therefore the freedoms that you are forfeiting to a perceived authority. But just in the same way, this applies to your interpersonal relationships, the individual narcissist, the sociopath, the people that will manipulate and try to control you on a personal level. These dynamics works very much the same way. So it's actually really useful when you come to understand more about one, like in the macro, you come to understand more about the other, kind of as above, so below, in this corresponding effect. You can apply this equally to institutions, to global control systems, as well as your interpersonal relationships. And as you come to study, the evils of government, the way they operate, the way they manipulate you, you'll recognize, wow, this seems really familiar. This person that you may used to have known, or currently known, or currently still have in your life. You'll recognize these patterns are very much the same, because evil itself has a modus operandi. So it's incredibly empowering to really come to understand what is evil, how does it work, and then identify and distance yourself from that as much as possible, whether it's in the individuals in your life or in the bigger picture here. So continuing on, evil, this section is called evil. The crucial key for understanding our world is to understand the nature of evil. Evil challenges the value of people by denying them the opportunity to make their own choices, by denying them the chance to grow strong in learning and understanding. So what evil fears the most is you stepping into your power. So it's going to do everything that it can to limit your freedom and your knowledge of your own power. While evil seeks to destroy or hide a person's worth, freedom shows humans their full potential and their full value. With freedom, people have loved, cured disease, removed hunger, erased labor, and eased labor, and lived in peace. With freedom, happiness is possible. Freedom is the exact opposite of evil. And I love that one line there is so potent, because freedom is the absence of violence. It is the default state, just as anarchy is synonymous with freedom. We can get into that. Many of people I'm sure out there are familiar, those that I'm connected with. Many of you understand the true meaning of anarchy. Maybe a lot of you don't, and you have a false or obfuscated idea of what that word actually truly means. Ironically, even in this book, which we will eventually get to, the author misuses the word anarchy to equate to chaos and disorder, when it is actually synonymous with freedom. So the author here understands this in essence, but just with many things, words get twisted and their meanings and creates confusion. So freedom or anarchy is the exact opposite of evil. It is the absence of slavery. Everything written in this book is written to destroy the ideas of culture and law. The lesson of this book is simple. Nothing on earth is more valuable than you. Joseph, I see you in the comments. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Jesse Howell says, what is evil spelt backwards? Well, it's live. So I guess, yes, you could say, I believe what you're getting at is that evil is an inversion. And so to invert life itself, or to live freely, that is evil. Very, very interesting observation there. I like that. Thank you. So hopefully this is resonating. If it is, make sure you like the video, leave some comments, because the engagement really helps. And if you believe in freedom, then do that small part to help spread the message of freedom to more people via this very terrible platform called Facebook that I'm just going to be using in the time being, as much better decentralized alternatives are currently being built. But yeah, that's a whole other story. Continuing on here, chapter 2, Earth. There is a dark conspiracy which has clouded the minds of humanity throughout all ages. This conspiracy is evil incarnate and controls vast mountains of human emotions, work, thought, and speech. It has been responsible for the deaths of hundreds upon hundreds of millions and the slavery of nearly every being who has ever lived. If you can accept a single principle that you have infinite worth, then this book will give you the vision necessary to see the world as it truly is, to know once and for all that this dark conspiracy is not strong, but weak, that evil is not growing, but dying. Principle versus law. To understand how evil controls people, it is necessary to understand the difference between principle and law. A principle is a truth that creates freedom. A law is a lie that creates slavery. Principles describe reality. They are knowledge that help you to make use of your world. Because of your intelligence, you recognize principles in everything you do. Every true thing you learn is a principle. The movements of your hands, which foods taste good, mathematics, and empathy for a friend are all based on principles. Laws are artificial ideas created by evil men to restrict the thinking and understanding of people. Laws mask themselves in authority so that they can impersonate principles. When people mistake law for principle, their freedom is restricted. When people mistake truth for ideas of authority, their abilities and their wisdom are diminished. This is the purpose of law. An example of a principle can be found in thermodynamics. A liquid is cooler than a gas. This is a principle. Because this is a principle, it does not restrict us, but enables us. Using this principle, we can condense and expand a substance between gas and liquid to create refrigeration. With this principle, we have more understanding and more power. Principles are truths that create freedom. An example of law can be found in the culture of royalty. A commoner owes homage to the king. This is a law. Because this is a law, it destroys freedom and enslaves. Under this law, a person must neglect usage of their minds, their speech, and their actions. They must believe that they are worth less than the king. Notice that unlike principle, there is no truth in law. It is entirely possible to disrespect the king and therefore to break the law. Law must be enforced because there is no truth in it. A law destroys freedom because it is a lie. A principle, however, creates freedom because it is knowledge. That which destroys freedom is evil. So yeah, so much depth and wisdom to this, but as the author says, it's incredibly simple. And yes, you can expand into depth and complexity and continue to unpack it, but this is how the universe works. Something seemingly simple, you can zoom in on it and, get down to like the atomic and subatomic levels, and there is infinite complexity embedded in truth, but to grasp it, to witness it, to understand it is very simple. You can obtain simple truths that are backed by infinite depth and complexity, but to simply understand it on its face, that which destroys freedom is evil. It's so simple, but yet it's true. So what I like about this section is it's differentiating law from principle. And this is absolutely key because everything government is based upon is not in principle, but in law, in artificial constructs that have no basis in truth. But this is how people have been brainwashed to believe that they have some kind of moral obligation to submit themselves, subject themselves to law, to pay taxes, and even become proud of it, like it's some kind of virtue, when it's completely unnatural and is a betrayal of who and what they are and their own worth. So freedom is based in truth. Non-aggression principle is based in truth. It is self-evident and discoverable using logic and reason. Law is just what your parents told you, maybe, when you were young. Why? Because I said so. Why? What logical, valid, truthful reason should I submit? Oh, simply because I'm the authority and you're not. My word has more worth than you. So shut up and bow down and submit and obey. This is the messaging and the purpose and the intent of evil. And once you understand your worth and you step back into that, you can't do that to yourself anymore. You can't disrespect yourself like that. Justin, what's up? How you doing, man? Welcome in. Let's see if we have any more comments. Let's see here. Cool. So yeah, I hope this is resonating with you all. I hope this is getting some value. I'm not sure how long I should go. Maybe I'll read like one more section. We've been about 15, 16 minutes in now. So simplicity. The world is simpler than it pretends. Complexities are found in every aspect of our cultures, politics, and economies. Every day, people are introduced to new ideas, new spin, new views, or a new symptom of our world. Many of these ideas are perversion of principle designed to engineer specific reactions from people. Hegelian dialectic, mind control. Evil societies invent ideas to destroy the free thinking of people. Some of history's names for these ideas have been socialism, fascism, racism, communism, democracy, class warfare, political correctness, propriety, decency, royalty, and terrorism. All of these ideas are created for exactly the same purpose. They are all vehicles to confuse the minds of the victims of slavery. They are all evil. And if you look at that too, look at all of these names and think about what is used to push these ideas forward. It's always fear and some kind of boogeyman, right? Socialism, communism, greed, money is the problem. It's the evil. And so you need to give us power so that we can fight that gosh darn bad evil, not us. We're not the evil. We're fighting for you. Just give us your power. That's what good people want, is to take power from others. Right. So just an observation. Obviously, terrorism, that's obvious. It's right there in the name. Terror of what? Some whatever enemy we deem the terrorist today, and it'll be something different, whether it's somebody from a Middle Eastern country today, a virus tomorrow. Who knows what they'll think up next, right? It's always something. Once people kind of get tired of being scared of one thing and why that war never seems to get won, and we just keep fighting it and giving up more of our freedoms, but things don't seem to get better. Oh, but now there's this new thing. You don't have time to think about it because it's super real bad, even worse than the last thing. And so, yeah, just more, never satisfied, and always pushing this agenda of evil forward. You are capable of understanding everything in the world around you. Your intelligence is not limited. Distortions and complexities are introduced into your understanding so that evil men can control you. Evil wants to believe that you are incapable of understanding your own world. When you understand the magnitude of your own worth, evil will fail. Exactly. That's why everything that they do with their manipulation, with the media, it's all gaslighting. It's all telling you you're not fit to defend yourself. You're not educated enough to understand all the nuances of this problem. So you need to just leave it up to the suits in Washington, right? Better men that are better equipped to live your life than you. I mean, what an insult to your very being, right? Just think about what that, and when they repeat that over and over and over through story after story, fear and problem after problem, that starts seeping into the mind, into your psyche, and eventually you start believing it, and that's where people largely are at now. They truly have internalized this self-limiting belief, even to the point of truth doesn't exist at all. You know, human beings are too stupid to understand truth, or to attain it. Not any truth, just truth at all. Because we can't know everything, we don't know shit, right? How to disempower yourself 101. Believe that you don't even have the capacity to obtain knowledge, that you're not an incredibly intelligent, sentient being capable of extrapolating patterns from nature, which is where all knowledge comes from. Where was I? Let's see. There are two principles relevant to understanding the concept of intelligence. The first is simplicity. The principle of simplicity states that intelligence recognizes truth. When any truth is presented in pure form, all people are capable of understanding it. Capable, key word there. There is no truth that you cannot learn. This is the principle of simplicity, that intelligence recognizes truth. That's not to say that all people know and just accept truth instantly when they hear it. It means that they're capable of that. However, it's been inverted to the point most people reject truth when they hear it because they're that indoctrinated. But that doesn't mean they don't have the capacity for reason and, autonomous thinking. This is part of the lie that they've led you to believe, that because they've done such a number on people, that they are that dogmatic and ignorant, that people aren't even capable of thinking for themselves or understanding or grasping truth, which is a huge lie. The second principle is the principle of obfuscation. Obfuscation is the distortion of principle. Obfuscation is the creation of false ideas in order to hide truth. Sometimes this is simply adding ideas on top of truth to disguise the nature of the original truth. Even ideas that seem entirely appropriate can be used to bury simple truths. Obfuscation is used by evil to confuse the minds of people. Obfuscation distorts principles so that people will be unable to learn. This is what I was just talking about. Evil uses obfuscation so that you will be unable to gain wisdom. It does this to limit your freedom. Culture knows that people will discover fewer truths if they are focused on artificial complexities. And this is true. That's why the Latin word for book and freedom, liber, is the same word. Liber means both book and freedom. That's why you have a library where books are kept, and liberté is another word for freedom. It's got the same root. This is because when knowledge is limited, slavery follows. But when knowledge is free and truth is attainable, freedom is the natural state, because all things lead back to the understanding of self, knowing thyself. And when you know thyself, you will never accept freedom or slavery. As children grow, they learn seemingly complex ideas are actually basic and simple principles. What may have seemed impossible to understand at one point becomes wonderful once understood. It is good to gain wisdom. With wisdom, you can do anything. Your search of knowledge will become easier for you as you shed any notion of your own inferiority. Exactly. Once you believe in yourself enough to know, or to believe that you can attain truth, that you can understand and acquire knowledge, well, then the acquiring of that knowledge and the wisdom will be a lot easier than if you had the belief that you aren't even capable of it to begin with. Your search for knowledge will become easier for you as you shed any notion of your own inferiority. Evil uses obfuscation to make people feel inferior, gaslighting. You are not inferior to other people. You are not inferior to ideas. You have infinite worth. So there you have it. I think that's probably a good place to wrap this up, this introductory segment. Dusan Dan, I can't pronounce your last name. Lily, that's tough. Liljanic, something like that. Can only find a PDF of this book. Wouldn't mind a hard copy. Yeah, I only have the PDF too. The hard copy is actually like, you can find it, but it's really, really expensive. So, I mean, I like physical books too, but at the end of the day, you know, the knowledge itself is what's most important. So at least it's, you know, attainable in that way. And that's obviously what I'm reading off of here. Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good format to kind of to get into. It's just such vital information that everyone needs to come to understand. If we can't shift this belief of inferiority, then slavery will always continue to exist, you know, until we start knowing our worth and stop tolerating this absolutely disrespectful and abusive behavior from anyone in our lives, but especially from the systems of control, government, you know, politicians, the media, all of it. Everything they do is disrespect to the infinite nature of who you are and your value. So, you know, everything comes back to yourself, your sovereignty. That is like the crux of spirituality, of wisdom, of self-knowledge. So this is a passionate subject of mine. Obviously, anyone who's been following the Wizard Factory knows that everything comes back to sovereignty and stepping into that, your own power, your own worth. So I love talking about this stuff. So I hope it resonated with you. Again, if it did, please like and share, you know, leave some comments below. Let me know what other kind of maybe content or topics you'd like me to get into. I think I'm going to kind of mix this in. So I'm not just going to do recording after recording on just this. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do some other stuff, and then I'll do another one of these just to keep it kind of fresh. I don't want to get too stale on just one thing. But again, if you like this, do let me know. I appreciate any kind of feedback. If you like this kind of material and you want to go deeper, if you love the spiritual philosophy and stuff like that, do check out my channel, The Wizard Factory. You can find the link on my profile banner on my link tree. So thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate you all, and I will see you in another video soon. So take care and have a great day.